Good morning or good noon what time in America. It's coming to noon. Yeah. Well, you guys enjoyed my video I made yesterday. I made 3 videos. Why you look tired? Yeah, I am tired. Slept till like 11 o'clock. 11 right now. Yeah. You guys been enjoying salads as much as you can, right? Well, hang on, I'm being serious. I'm not making it feels for you, man. Like, zero. I'm not gonna let you do that. Yeah, there you go. Can't even forget about this channel. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we know that. Yes. Obviously. Because I'm going to be trending, yeah, every day with VJ, obviously. So me and VJ, when we go home, we're looking at the trends all day, and that's much cooler than this Suicide channel. That's why I wouldn't forget about it. There you go. You guys wouldn't forget about it. Yeah. So your family always says stop watching yourself. Yeah, like I know they watch my videos behind the scenes. And they act like I watch myself. You think about it, I'm gonna make videos for you when you're a kid, when you're mom kid, you're fucking crazy, man. I thought you just mean you're crazy and piece of out. I won't make any videos for you, so you deserve. There you go. I myself watching stuff. Yes, so I'm king now. I'm making videos for you. You're not behind me. You deserve. There you go. Peace out, VJ. Yeah, man. I mean, Zane is really the best fight on grid. Yes, it is. It's a masterpiece, man. Yeah, man. Zane's is a masterpiece. Best fight on grid. It's a masterpiece, man. Yeah, man. It's a masterpiece. Yes. Yeah. There's a reason why the gates will enjoy your book, Ivan. You know you wrote a masterpiece, man. Yeah, man. Amazing book. It's a masterpiece. A masterpiece, yes. It's a masterpiece. It's a book worth billions. Yeah. That's why you're not allowed to give you such your money. Yeah, man. Like you have all your trillions. kept me poor for 4 years, and you do Victoria Justice, and you even take money from me when I'm poor. Like, yo, Ivan, yeah, man. Even when I have like no money in my bank, my stepfather always grills me about giving me his health insurance when he can easily pay off the $25,000 himself, and he makes me pay it off. When I never even asked you to sign me up for this stupid health insurance. Now I have to pay you $60 a month, which is really annoying. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I finally have the gatekeeper. You think I'm gonna let you take my money? You're crazy. Zero. You're not touching my money, man. You won't let me touch your money. This money's mine. You're not touching. I have the keys. You can't guard the door by saying, "Oh, let me go." Yeah. Yeah. My shirt is upside down. No, it's not. Yeah. That's why Ouija cries. She wants a piece of your billions, obviously. Yeah, I mean, she does. Yeah, Ouija wants a piece of my billions. That's why she cries. She got duped by the gates. Yeah. She wants a piece of my billions, BJ. Yeah. That's why what? She cries. Obviously. So you don't know how to be rich? No. And so when I get that check, I'm gonna cry, obviously. I get out on my $23 billion check. $23 is wide into your Canada. I cry when I get the check because I've never had that kind of money in my life before, man. I've been poor my whole life. I just came back from death just to make this money and save my wife. And so when I get that money, I'm gonna break down in tears, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. Why will we break down because we get the money? Because I don't know what's like to be rich. I've never had that kind of money in my life before, man. I've been poor my whole life, working minimum wage. Now I'm a multi-billionaire. My father's Ivan, you're happy now? Why I gave you the keys? I'm like, yeah, even though I hate the keys. Because these keys, Ivan, you made your billions, man. And the gates don't touch your money. Yeah. And even though the world made you pay a price, they're not left behind paying a price. And you get Victoria Justice upgrade with a refresh. Whereas those men did not get a fresh when they got a garbage and trash. They get it with beauty. It's a set of policy. Sarah? Yeah. Yeah. Those guys will boil the water. Yeah, I will. All the Hollywood actors and aliens who work on my movie. Be like, yeah, man, Sky Source blows hot water. Yes, it does blow hot water. Obviously. What I'll do is I'll talk about Sky Source for 30 minutes, and the next 30 minutes I'll talk about the CFL. That way it's more interesting, right? Because I know you guys getting rid of know this Sky Source. I've been talking about Sky Source for years. I said I want to change it up a little bit, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, you really think people tell you that Lord of the Rings is will not be as good as Zanus? Yeah, you might. This story is going to top my Lord of the Rings. You might tell me that. It's going to be better than Lord of the Rings. I mean, yeah, it's going to be better than Lord of the Rings. Peter Jackson. Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings. And, Peter Jackson might top that. You'll see what I mean, guys, read my book. I wrote a masterpiece, man. No, your book is sick, but yeah, it's a sick book. It's an amazing book, man. It's a masterpiece. So, yes. It's an amazing story. It's an amazing story, Zanus. As you guys read it, right? Yeah, I mean, it's sick. I know I wrote a sick book. It's an amazing story. It's an amazing story. It's an amazing story. Yeah. Amazing story, Zanus. The families know my book will be more popular than Harry Potter, Game of Thrones, and Lord of the Rings. That's why they want me to sell. Yeah, I wrote an amazing book, a masterpiece. You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't sell too well, it's going to be, this book will be so popular. More popular than Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Game of Thrones. And that's billions for IWJ. $23 billion for IWJ. With 20 some $billion in his bank, I have successful film studio need to fund the movie, yes. And the game and sell the merch on Amazon. And I make my money off that. And the brand's huge, obviously they know that. That's why they want me to sell. So they can guard the door. Yeah, we have to get Ivan to sell to us, that way we can guard the door on his book and we can take his billions. He doesn't make his billions. That's what they want me to sell. Well, I'm not stupid. You do me, you're gonna do me too. I figured it out. I'm not an idiot. You're blinded by your psychotic enemy towards me, Ouija. I'm not an idiot. You're gonna dupe me. There you go. Like you dupe Ouija right there. You go. Yeah, you cheat. You figured out. Yes, I did. Victoria Justice has the keys. She's only worth what? Victoria Justice has the key. She's only worth her $12 million. She got duped badly by the gatekeepers, man. Well, they duped her badly. Yeah, I made duped me. Yeah, Victoria Justice is supposed to be a multi-billionaire, man. She's not supposed to be worth $12 million. They duped her, man. Yeah, let her be rich, but like, don't let her be like a multi-billionaire. You think I'm gonna sell to you and have you take my money? You're crazy, man. That money's mine. It's zero. You're not touching it. Here, there you go. The money off the books for me, BJ. It's not for you. I'm gonna tell. Look, man. The money off this book is for me and my wife. It's not for you. You already make the trillions around the world. This money belongs to me, BJ. You're not touching it. There you go. It's my money, not yours. There you go. Sarah, you didn't write the book, man. I'm not going to take our money after hiding you off me for 40 years and taking my money when I'm poor and causing that mess and doing all the evils. But you're crazy, man. Zero, you're not touching my money. Taking away hacking my laptop, taking away my PS3, breaking all my games, breaking all my movies, taking away my phone, guys. They don't let you take my money. You're crazy. You're not touching that. That's zero. There they go. So, Sarah. Yeah. 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 You're a masterpiece. Oh yeah, I did. It's an amazing story. Yeah. And they're all on bottom. Like, no, John, you get 10. I'm not paying you 20. Stop being greedy. So, uh, it's a dumb one. So, yeah. John doesn't make that in Hollywood, man. He makes like his 3-2 in Hollywood, right? Sound like a 26, 27 million deal for my for his movie contract. I say yes. John Mega. It's not a mega deal. Mega deal, yeah. John signed. Yeah. Well, Vision might tell you don't have to follow over 3 billion. Actually, you don't have to make the movie for 3 billion. Make it for like 1.5, like 500 million movie. I'm like, no, VJ, you gotta put $1 billion towards this. You want this thing to work. You want everything to be Devils and Demons, have amazing battles scenes, have amazing world building, and pay the all the actors more money and the crew more money. Have a bigger budget that way you can afford to pay more money. I'm doing. VJ, we're gonna make our money back. All right, and you're right. Yeah, we're gonna make our tens of millions back on this. Our 80 billion, 100 billion off the movie merchant game, 3 billion investment's a good investment. Yeah. 500 million worth of games good investment. We're gonna make our billions off that too for the game. You're right. Yeah, we have the keys. This is not risky. We're gonna make our money back. We're gonna make our money back. Here we go. I'm sorry. We're gonna make our money back. Yeah. 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 So, yeah, man. So this is a masterpiece, guys. Amazing story. So when you read it, the best man's ever written, man. Sell for $22 for the print and $80 for the ebook. Sorry, $22 for the ebook, $80 for the print. If you don't want to pay the $80, you pay your $22. You can read the book on your laptop. Look at the best story ever told. Best novel written. Look at an amazing story. Uh, I wrote a masterpiece, man. Yeah, a masterpiece. Yeah, I wrote a masterpiece. Yeah. What's the best volume? It's between volume 2 and volume 3. It just depends on your taste, right? Volume 2 has has more better flow of dialogue. Volume 3 blows your mind away more, so it's like it's a back and forth. Like Volume 3, you can argue it's a bit more raw than Volume 2 when you read it, but you have bigger scenes and scenes that blow your mind away more than Volume 2. But Volume 2, you can argue the flow of the dialogue is a little bit better, but the scenes don't blow your mind away as much as Volume 3. So it's like a back and forth on the scene. But I personally think Volume 3 is the best, or you can argue Volume 2 and Volume 3 are tied, they're just as good. But for me, it goes Volume 3 is my favorite, but you can argue Volume 2 is better too. Some fans might like Volume 2 better, some fans might like Volume 3, some fans might even like Volume 1. Like Behind the Walls and Zanes. Yeah, I like Volume 1, but some fans might not even like Volume 1 the best. It just depends how the art hits you. Art hits everyone in different ways, right? But Volume 3 will probably be the most controversial of the three volumes. With Volume 3, I take the story in a different direction. It's the plot twist in Volume 3, and you don't expect that when you read the book, obviously. Like when you see what I mean, you read volume one, volume two, and you read volume three, and you get this plot twist, and I take the story in a different direction. You didn't really expect that, and the story now gets deep and dark, and you know what I'm saying? And yeah, so I mean that can be controversial to some of the fans, but yeah, that would be my answer. I personally like volume three the best, but you can argue volume two is better too. Just depends on the art hits you, right? That's my point, right? Yeah, just depends how the art hits you. That's my answer. Now this is gonna go to sort of get my smokes. Yeah, that's what Hard Rock's gonna beg. Yeah. I mean, I just can't picture the Zanians Hall actors begging like Hall will be throwing them offers. Yeah, Hall will be throwing John Mega, Von Jones, and all them offers, but they know I can pay them more, and my company's better than Hall. I can pay them more money, better perks. Once you're in my movie, you're not gonna want to go back to Hollywood. My company's better than Hollywood. I'm gonna go. Me and VJ Scott's company's better than Hollywood. That's what all the Hollywood actors are gonna beg, obviously. They're not good for the race of Cat Reeves. I'm saying that right? They're not good. There you go. You gotta go back to Hollywood. They're gonna be left behind and go to the exhibit. There you go. I'm not gonna save you for the next movie. They were saved. They don't be left behind. You don't forget that, right? That's the main reason why they're begging is that they were saved. My glory and fame is worldwide and international. They know when they go back to Hollywood, they're going to lose that feeling of feeling saved. They're going to be left behind. That's why they're going to beg. And they know my copies right now. I can pay them more. They know my copies right now. I can pay them more than what Hollywood can pay them. There you go. Yeah. Well, Hollywood really tried their best I don't know, for the Great Escape to really get Keanu Reeves and Matt Damon and Ben Affleck to sign with Hollywood. Yeah, they will. They'll be throwing Hollywood. They'll be throwing these guys a lot of money, but they're going to tell their agents, "Yeah, sorry, we can't compete with Ivan's company." Like, yeah, Keanu Reeves will pay you 20 million for this movie. We can give you box office points for the movie, but chances are Keanu Reeves will be lucky to get maybe 25 million to 30 million dollars the box office points. And his agent's like, "Yeah, sorry, we're working for Sky Source." And the Hollywood will tell their agents, "Yeah, sorry, we can't compete with Sky Source. We can't because I and BJ have the keys. Their movies do tens of billions in net profits. They need to pay more. Yeah, he's making Keanu Reeves 135, 140 million of the film profits. Hollywood can't afford that. We were lucky to get 30 in Hollywood. He's lucky Keanu Reeves. That's why sorry, I'm working for Sky Source. I think he'll pay me more. Yeah, I can pay him more. Keanu Reeves. Well, Hollywood can pay him. Yeah, we can't compete with Sky Source. Keanu Reeves. I can tell his agent that wrong. Yeah, they can't compete with my company. The only thing they can kind of compete with me is the base salary. But for royalties, they can't compete with me and VJ's company. As the Hall company's not doing the kind of money that my ones are doing. They can't afford to pay Keanu Reeves $140 in profits. No. That's how much they make in profit if the movie's a hit. They can't afford to pay him that much. With me and VJ, our movies are tens of millions in net profits. We can easily give Keanu Reeves 140 million in film profits. Ben Affleck is 78. Matt Damon is 82 million, 83 million in the film profits. Hollywood can't afford that. Scarlett Johansson are 80 for the movie. Yeah, I can afford it because I'm doing my movies are doing tens of millions in net profits, so I can afford to give points to those actors for my movie. Sarah. Yeah. Sarah. So Hollywood cannot compete with your company? No. Hollywood will not be able to compete with my company. I can pay the actors more money. The only thing they can compete with me a little bit is the base salary, but I can easily give the actors royalties. They get royalties money. They can't, and they also get more money for speaking, a multi-million deal for speaking. The Hollywood actors don't make that. They make like 75K, 200K for speaking at Comic Con. And for my company, it's a multi-million deal for speaking alone. They also get their multi-million deal for the game. They also get their merch money, the A-list actors. All the actors get their merch deal, and it blows out of the water. It blows out of the water. That's why Hollywood can't compete with AVG's company, obviously. But I can be careful for some of the agents. Some agents they might lie to you and tell them that like Hollywood offered their actor like $100 million of the points. That way they try to get money out of me. I'm like, nah, I don't believe you, man. Like you're trying. I know you're trying to play this game with me and try to get you to pay this actor more. It's not going to work out. Yeah. It might do that. Yeah, they offered like Ben 100 million of the royalties, Ivan. I'm like, baloney. I don't believe you. I don't know. I'm serious. They offered him that. I'm like, there's no way they offered him $100 million. Like Hollywood companies, that's how much they make in profit if their movie's a hit, man. There's no way they offered him that. And even then, I was just like, no, I'm not paying him that, man. Even if Hollywood did offer him 100, which I don't believe, you're trying to play that game with me, that bidding war game with me. He gets 78, man. I'm not paying him one night. It's not worth 100. I'm sorry. Yeah. Most agents won't do that though, obviously. But they're gonna try and get more money out of me, out of me and VJ's box office for these big actors. I'm like, no, man, $78 million for Ben Affleck. Now I'm not paying more money. It's not worth it more than this. I'm saying, yeah, it's not worth it more than this. I'm sorry. That's why these guys will blow out the water. Okay, now I'm gonna talk about the CFL. I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh, you think all the GMs and coaches and CFL think you're crazy? Yeah, they do. God, you're crazy, man. You take away the American top, man. The quality will dip a bit, man. And the league can even make less money. Do you think the league could flop if they did that? No, I don't think it would flop. The fans in Canada still love the Canadian football players. But I believe it might not make a difference, right? Either there is a huge difference in 10 years with promoting the homegrown talent, especially the star Canadian franchise quarterbacks at the universities and on TSN, CFLs on Canada, or it doesn't make a difference whether you market the American product to the Canadians in Canada or the Canadian product. It doesn't really make a difference because the market for football is just not that big in Canada. That's my other answer. Sarah, that's my other answer. Yeah. Yeah. I guarantee you, all you American football fans, you thought, yeah, we thought the CFL was just like only a few American guys and a bunch of like Canadian all-star athletes. No, star athletes, no. There's a lot of Canadians playing in the CFL, but most of them are not stars. They're all like special teams players, obviously. Yeah. I mean, really, are most of the star players in CFL American? Yeah, guys, I'm not lying. I'm not lying to you guys. Yeah, most of the star players in CFL are the American guys. That's how it works. And the Canadian, is barely any Canadian stars, and most of the Canadian star players are either playing special teams or they get limited reps or they sit on the bench. That's how it works. I'm not lying, guys. I'm telling you the truth, but I'm not lying. Sarah, I'm not lying. Evan, I'm not lying, Sarah. Yeah. Yeah, I thought it'd be all these Canadian star players in the league. No, man, there's barely any Canadian star players in the league. Out of the 400 players playing in the CFL, there's only 63 star Canadian players. And the rest of the star players are the American guys. And there's also Canadian players too playing, but they're not stars. They're special teams players or limited reps, that kind of stuff. That's how it works. Obviously. So 63 out of the 400 players in CFL are Canadian stars. The rest are not. It's all the American stars. And the Canadians who play special teams in the league, right? That's my answer. Uh, yeah. You think the CFL lost a lot of great Canadian talent? Oh, yeah. Anthony Coombs, Shamad Chambers, Stephon Charles, and Gaydon, Andrew Lee, Brandon Bridge, Trey Ford. Trey Ford started. Yeah, Trey Ford started, but like because he wasn't able to win games for his team, they benched him after like 5 6 games. The team didn't give him his time to grow as a quarterback. As Mike Riley had a losing season with the Edmonton Eskimos, and he grew as a quarterback, and he took his team to the Grey Cup a couple years later. 2 years later, he took his team to the Grey Cup, and they won the Grey Cup in 2015. Mike Riley, yeah, 2015 Grey Cup. He took his team to the Grey Cup. The Edmonton Eskimos won the Grey Cup that year. Yeah, so Sarah. Yeah, I guarantee he was doing it for. Yeah, you're right, man. If Anthony Coombs would have been a star, right? But yeah, Anthony Coombs would have been like an Andrew Harris, I believe, in the CFL. I saw his highlights. The guy's an amazing running back, man. Amazing, fast too. He would have been an amazing running back in the CFL, but he didn't get his time to shine because of the American bias. He didn't get his opportunity to shine because of the American bias, man. Yeah, man. I believe he would have been almost as good as Andrew Harris, Anthony Coombs, if he just got his opportunity to shine. Jamal James was an amazing receiver too, but he didn't get his opportunity to shine because of the American bias. And yeah, man, it's sad. Obviously, it's very sad. So Sarah, I could be wrong, but maybe the right way. Even though I disagree, maybe the right way of growing a sequel is with the American talent. But I don't. I disagree. But I think it's a Canadian product. But I mean, the CFL obviously thinks that the best way to grow the CFL in Canada is by having the star players be American because they put on more show on television. That's their answer, obviously. But I'm saying, but I keep telling CFL, yeah, CFL, even though I know you think that's the best way of growing the league, if you want the majority of star players to be American, you have to market them to Canadian people. I keep saying that, right? Yeah, we have no choice. Yes, you have to market your franchise American quarterbacks, receivers, DBs, linebackers to the Canadian people. You're seeing minimal growth, so obviously something's not working. Obviously, in the CFL, you the fans just don't care that much about Canadian football, which that could be the real reason why it doesn't matter if they're Canadian or American. Or there is a little bit of a bigger market for it, but it's not with the American product, with the Canadian product, especially the franchise quarterbacks. That's the real key, obviously. Marketing the heck out of the franchise Canadian quarterbacks, that's the key to building buzz. Or people just don't care either way. That's my answer. I could be wrong, but they don't care either way, right? Yeah. Yeah. Sarah? That's my answer. That's my answer. I hear James, I know. One of those answers is right. Either the fans of Canada just don't care about Canadian football that much. So even if you promote all these star Canadian, okay, and franchise quarterbacks at universities and do nationwide commercials, they now know the CFL's not Canada, and the CFL team isn't about talks about these star franchise quarterbacks, it won't make a difference. Or there is a little bit bigger market with the Canadian product and not with the American product. That's my other answer. One of those answers are true, but chances are it might just be people in Canada just don't care that much about Canadian football. That could be the real reason. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's not that big a market for Canadian football. That can be true, obviously. Or the bigger market is with the Canadian product, especially the franchise quarterbacks. That's the key to building buzz for the league, obviously. Or it doesn't make a difference either way. That's my answer. Yeah. But marketing, yeah, marketing is key. You got to really market the players. That's how it works. The universities is a good place to market it because the university students, you market them to university students. A lot of them will know. Yeah, I know this guy. He played at this university. He was a star player at this university. He got drafted. Now he might be a star franchise quarterback. I might tune into the games and see what you know. What I'm saying, yeah, it's how it builds buzz, but or it doesn't make a difference at all. That's why they're answer obviously. I'm sorry. you think the CFL will grow? Yeah, it will. In a good 10 years, the CFL might. In a good 10, if the CFL can grow by like let's say 50 million a year, if the CFL can grow by 50 million a year every year in 10 years, the league will now be pulling in 400 million in revenue. That's $150 million. That's still good, obviously. But it's not substantial growth, it's minimal growth. But in 10 years, if it can grow to a 380, $400 business, that's good. The star players now get paid more money in the CFL in 10 years. Sorry. And now the upcoming NCAA guys who didn't get an opportunity, a lot of them will turn on NFL opportunities. Some of them because they're getting paid good more money in the CFL. The guys who don't make the NFL in the States, all you NCAA guys, right? Yeah, that's my answer. But I'm not gonna lie, man. Like even if the CFL does grow a little bit, like I don't know, 350 million, 300 plus million business in 10 years, around there, which I think it should be around that range, 300 plus million in 10 years. I'm sick of the bias. I can't take it every time when Mills Teague and all these and they talk about all these American guys, so I don't really care that much about. You know what I'm saying, like I care about them and their stars and the fans love them. I get it, but it'd be nice for them to be some franchise Canadian quarterbacks they talk about. Like they have Nathan Rourke, yeah, but he's only one quarterback, and the rest of them are just all these American guys who come up here, and I don't really care that much about those guys, to be honest. Me personally, I just don't really care that much. I don't resonate with them as much. I'm not as invested in them compared to the Canadian guys because they're American from a different country. That's how I feel. There we go. Sarah. So when I say, can this American quarterback and this running back take a team break up? Do you care a little bit? I care a little bit, but I don't really care that much because they're American from a different country. I can't really resonate with them. Just like if the NFL had if the majority of the star players were Canadian players in the NFL, all you Americans wouldn't give a shit about these Canadian players. You wouldn't really care about. Yeah, I wouldn't really care. We don't resonate with them. They're Canadian. They're from a different country. Yeah, you have the same situation here. I see Sarah. No, it's just my automatic Canadian bias I have, right? It's a pride thing, right? The Canadian pride thing, obviously. Yeah. Sarah. So with Nathan Rook, you care more, yeah. Whenever I see the CFO highlights, I see Nathan Rook. I'm like, oh, I hope Nathan Rook does good, man. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you're more invested in him. For me personally, because he's Canadian, I can relate to him. It's just it's a Canadian pride thing, right? Yeah, Nathan Rook's Canadian. He's a starting quarterback. I hope he does good for this game, and you root for him. Whereas the American guys, I don't really care that much about. To be honest, I'm sorry, I don't hate him. So yeah, that's my point. Yeah. Hmm. So why the CFL does is they want quality. They want quality football almost as good as the NFL. That's why they bring in all the leftovers from the states to be stars up here. They bring those guys up here to be stars because they want quality. Yeah, I want quality football almost as good as the NFL. That's why they bring the American guys because they know if they get rid of the American guys, the quality will dip a little bit, and now there's a significant drop in quality from the NFL to the CFL. The American guys are what keeping it pretty close to the NFL. It's not the NFL, but it's almost as good as the NFL. Take away the American guys, the quality dips a little bit. The quality will dip by maybe 5%. And now you have like a 50% drop in quality from the NFL to the CFL. Yeah, and that's a little bit significant drop. Yeah, it is, but it's still entertaining football that you name people CFL. And you're blind by the American talent. Yeah, you want to be the NFL of Canada, that's why you bring the American guys. Yeah, I want to be the NFL of Canada, that's why you bring the American guys. And you're also changing the rules and you're Americanizing the CFL now, and like you're copying the NFL rules and everything. Like, and you wonder why some fans are not really drawn to your league, obviously, because you're Americanizing the Canadian football game, CFL. Very weird. All right, are the Canadian athletes good enough to put on a show? Yes, they are, but like the CFL, that's not good enough for them. Yeah, it's quality football item. It's not good enough for us. It's not like the NFL. Yeah, that's the problem. You're blind by the American talent. You're trying to be the NFL of Canada. It's not good enough for us, Ivan. No, it's good enough football. It's amazing quality football, but it's not like as good as the NFL. Yeah, Ivan. It's not as good as the NFL. Yeah, you're jealous of the NFL CFL. You think because the NFL, all the American players in the NFL put on a show on an NFL, and that's why it's so popular. That's why you bring the leftovers here. Hopefully, you grow this thing and it becomes huge. But what you don't understand, CFL, for the NFL, those American athletes are American. The people in America can relate to those guys. For the CFL, it's a Canadian professional league. And you think by bringing in people from a different country and having these stars of the league, you're going to grow the league substantially in Canada. They're American people, CFL playing in Canada, man. People in Canada don't know anything about these guys. They're American, they're not Canadian. See what I'm saying? Yeah, but we don't care if they don't leave resident that much for the Canadian players. They're very talented. We got to bring these guys up right now and put on a show for our CFL games. And you now have no choice but to market them CFL to the Canadian people if you do that. Don't forget that, right? You have to do that, obviously. Yeah, we have no choice, yes. You have to market the American product to the Canadian people. That's you know what I'm saying? And you're seeing minimal growth, so something's obviously not working. Either the fans just don't care about Canadian football, which is possible. That could be the reason. The fans just don't care that much about Canadian football, or there's a bigger market for it, but it's not with your American products, with your Canadian product. That's my answer. Or it doesn't matter at all. That's my other answer. It won't make a difference. So I'm sorry. What's the real key position? It's the quarterbacks, man. It's all about the quarterbacks. That's the real key. The other positions help build more buzz, but the franchise quarterbacks, that builds buzz. This CIS quarterback got drafted in the first round. He might be a franchise quarterback for the Ottawa Red Blacks when he take his team to the Grey Cup. And people at universities are, holy shit, man, like these guys who I knew at university are now franchise quarterbacks for the CFL. I'm not tuned into the game. That's how you grow it in 10 years. Or it doesn't make a difference. I could be wrong. Doesn't make a difference either way, right? I could be wrong, obviously. Yeah, you could be wrong. Yeah, I could be wrong. It might not make a difference. There you go. Almost done, guys. Yeah. Do you feel like it's a betrayal to your country when they do that? What CFL's doing a little bit, yeah. It seems like they betrayed like their own country a little bit, in my opinion. Because the CFL, they obviously care more about the American players' career than the Canadian players' career. They care more about those guys shining up than the Canadian guys. So it kind of feels like a betrayal to your own country. Yeah, it's sad, obviously. Yeah. I'm sorry, man. They're more talented. This is how we go league in Canada. I know they're more talented American players, but you've been promoting them for years, marketing them for years. You're not seeing much growth, and they're putting on quality football. If the fans of Canada still don't care that much, so obviously quality is not the issue. Sequel, it has to be something else. Obviously, yeah. Why do you think the CFL is not getting higher television ratings because of the quality of the game? No, it's not about the quality because I've watched many CFL games. CFL games is high quality football. It's almost as good as the NFL. Not the NFL, but almost as good as the NFL. And yet fans in Canada still don't care that much. So obviously there has to be a reason why. They just don't resonate well with Canadian football. They don't really care much about Canadian football, or they want to see the Canadian like franchise quarterback shine up here. That's my other answer with the star receivers and running backs. That could be my other answer, but I could be wrong. It might not even make a difference either way, right? But they have to market it. If they don't market it, it won't make a difference. If they market it, that's how it can grow in 10 years. It could be huge, but I could be wrong. It could also flop, or it won't make a difference. Well, I don't think it will flop, but it won't make a difference. C4 will still have more growth even if they made that change. I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah. Evan. Almost on guys. Yeah. All right, seriously, see if we really lose a lot of great talent. Yeah, they did. A lot of great talent that would have been franchise players in the CFL. Lost all those guys because of the American bias, obviously. It's sad. These were all amazing players, and the CFL lost because of their bias, obviously. It's sad. Uh, yeah. Yeah. Remember Herb Brooks? All-star teams fail because they rely solely on the individual's talent. It wasn't because you weren't good enough. He's like, I want to change the way we play the game. Adopt the hybrid style of the Soviet school and the Canadian school. Yeah. I hear James, I know. They would still say no. If I was elected commissioner and I asked for the league to make this change, they would tell me no. I even know we can't do that. I'm like, I know. So what's your business strategy of having this thing have such a role with the American talent? And the CFL tells me, the marketing team tells me, the committee tells me, we don't know. We tried everything we could, it's not working. Yeah, something's not working in your league. Obviously, there has to be a key to fixing it. I don't know what the key is. I'm hating this, but there has to be a key to fixing it, obviously. Sorry. Yeah, even if you wanted to do this, what you think will really build buzz for the hype for the Canadian product? It's the quarterbacks. It's all about the quarterbacks. Yes, the receivers and the linebackers and the D linemen, they build hype too, but not the way the quarterbacks. It's all about the franchise quarterbacks. That's what you really have to market to the Canadian people, the star franchise Canadian quarterbacks, and that's how you build buzz. In 10 years, this thing could be huge, or it won't make a difference. That's my answer. So you take the risk, you could have a huge reward in 10 years, or it doesn't make a difference and you bring back the American guys. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm saying, nah, we're not going to do that, man. We don't think this is going to make a difference. Okay, well then I'm stepping down to see what commission. I can't find any other way to grow a league. I believe this is the way to grow a league, but I mean, because obviously the American product is not really resonating with the Canadian fans. It's majority of we have Canadian product. Yeah, you do, but barely, man. Most of your Canadian product are all the linemen. You barely have any star players who are Canadian in this league. It's all these American guys, and you market the heck out of them on your TSN promo on television, and the fans are not really tuning in. They don't really care that much. So obviously, somebody's not working. That's my answer. But it also might not make a difference with the Canadian players too. So, you see my point? Yeah, there you go. There just isn't that big of a market for Canadian football. You can, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. Guarantee all the Canadian athletes in the live, and thank you for signing up for us. Hey, welcome. Yeah, Ivan, you're right, man. The bias, yeah, guys, the bias, we can't take the bias. Yeah, the bias has been going on, guys, for decades in the CFL. That's how you know they're blinded by the American talent, obviously. They don't really care that much about the Canadian guys shining up here. They care about the Canadian guys, but they don't really care that much. They don't care that much about their career. They care more about the American players shining up here who never want to be here. They're only here by default. And some of them use the CFL to get another NFL shot. And those guys get to shine up here over the best Canadian players in Canada who actually want to play pro football here. I don't get it. Anyways, Ivan, the reason why we do that, man, they're not as talented, Ivan. Yeah, it's a betrayal to your own country. You don't trust your own Canadian players to put on good enough quality football for the Canadian people. I mean, yeah. Some Sarah. I mean, bluffing, man. Like, does the CFL really not trust the Canadian players to put on enough volleyball with people in Canada? Yeah, of course. That's why they bring all the American guys. Like, duh, it's common sense. That's why most of the star players are the American players. Like, duh. They put on more of a show on television, obviously. Put on more of a show. Yeah. 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 Well, I think that's why the American players start. Yes. Because they put on more of a show. The CFL's trying to be the NFL. Yeah. The Canadian athletes are not good enough to put on quality football. I beg to differ. I believe they're more than good enough. Yeah, they're more than good enough. They're amazing ball players, but it's just not on the NFL's level. That they're blinded, obviously. Yeah, it's good, but like compared to the NFL, it's not like it's not satisfying to us. That's why we bring all the American guys, and hopefully they put on a show and hope this is how we go to the league. Does the Seagulls buy by American talent? Yeah, and that's funny. I know. Buy by American talent, obviously. Yeah, man, we want quality football. We want high quality football. We want quality football. That's why we bring on the American guys. Yeah, but if you do that, see, you now have no choice but to market those people that can, those players that can name people. Like you say that, you have no choice. You have to. Yeah, we have no choice. Yeah, you have to do that, man. No, you have to do that. You have no choice but to do that. So I'm saying you have to market those American players that can name people, obviously. And the people in Canada don't really care that much. Some people care, but not many people care that much. So obviously something's not working. I don't know what the reason is, but something's always not working on him. So yeah, is there? You have no choice but marketing to name people. CFL. I mean, yeah. Only that does this, man. It's very weird. Yeah. Yeah. Why do you think the CFL is the only thing that does is I believe because like America is a next door neighbor of Canada, and the CFL they're a bit jealous, envious of the NFL's talent because the NFL is the best football in the world, and the Americans in the NFL are so talented. Okay, like the best names in Canada they put on quality football, but not on the NFL's level. Like, let's bring some of those leftovers to Canada and have them be the stars up here, and have them put on a show almost as good as the NFL, and that's how we grow the league. But yeah, I get that, CFL. You're relying blindly on the American talent to grow your league, but the Canadian fans have no clue about all these American guys you're bringing up here, man. You market them to their unknown talent. You market them to Canadian people, and you wonder why you're having minimal growth. And that kind of answers your question. Instead of trying to grow the league with the more known, relatable Canadian talent, you want to grow the league with the unknown American talent. That's my answer. Yeah. They're not as talented, Ivan. The Canadian players are not as talented, Ivan. Yeah, you're blind. They're talented, CFL. They're just not as talented as the American guys. Yeah, Ivan, they're not as talented as the American guys. It's not the NFL, Ivan. We get rid of the. Yeah, but who cares about the NFL? The NFL's for the American guys. The CFL's for the Canadian guys. Why are you so caught up about the NFL? The NFL's players in America, like they're for the American people. The CFL's for the Canadian people. There you go. I'm saying, yeah. So, Sarah. That's my answer. Uh, yeah. So they don't believe. Yeah, it's sad. They don't believe the Canadian players, the best players in Canada, are good enough to put on good enough quality football for the Canadian people. It's very sad, man. That's why they bring all the American guys, obviously. Ivan, the game won't be as entertaining. It's not as quality, Ivan. League revenue could dip, Ivan. Well, when I watched the CIS championship game with McMaster for Laval, that was entertaining football for me. I mean, I enjoyed the game. I love it. Those are not even the best players in Canada. Dwayne Ford was going crazy. He's like the best game ever. It was such an entertaining game. They made a documentary about it, man. Because that's how entertaining the championship game was. They made a documentary about the game on TSN. I watched it. And Dwayne Ford called it the best game ever. I'm not lying. Am I right, Dwayne? Yeah, Ivan, you're right. Yeah, I remember that. He's like, best game ever. You know, even Dwayne Ford was on the edge of his seat when he won. I was on the edge of my seat watching that game. It's not the NCAA, but it's still entertaining football, man. And those are not even the best players in Canada. Put them to better conditioning, training, and coaching. They can pull it off. It'll be entertaining football. But it's not going to happen. We're not going to do that, man. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's risky. They're not as talented, Ivan. If it's not, the quality will go down. Our best Canadian players in Canada are just not good enough to put on good quality football for people in Canada, Ivan. That's why we bring in all the American guys. I disagree, but I mean, I think they are good enough. You're just blinded by the American talent in the NFL. That's why you want to bring the leftovers here. Yeah, we're blinded by the American talent. Yeah, you're blinded by the American talent, CFL. That's why you bring the leftovers here to Canada to shine as CFL stars. You're a genius. You figured it out. I figured it out. I'm not an idiot, man. Here's you, all you Canadian football players in CFL. We didn't know that. We know about the bias. We didn't know about that. Well, guys, it's common sense. If the CFL has the majority of the star players be the American guys, I figured out, yeah, they want high quality football almost as good as the NFL. That's why all the American guys start. Because the American guys, they put on more of a show, a bit more of a show on television. It's a bit more higher quality football. Whereas you Canadians don't put on as high of a quality of a football game. That's why they start the American guys. Duh. All the Canadian athletes, thank you, man. You opened my eyes, yeah. Thank you for signing up for us, Ivan. Yeah, you're welcome. I'm signing up for the Canadian players. And I also opened your eyes, obviously. That's why the CFL does that, obviously. They don't believe you guys are good enough to put on quality football for the people of Canada, obviously. That's why they bring all the American guys. Duh, it's common sense. All you American football fans, Ivan, it's cold, but I know it's cold. I know it's cold. Yeah, man. It's cold. Yeah. But the league will grow. In a good 10 years, the CFL should at least be a 300 plus million a year business. And the star athletes who play up here, they can get a raise, obviously. I believe the athletes in the CFL deserve a raise, man. You're holding on to that cash. You're greedy. They deserve a little bit of a higher raise. But all right, we're not going to do that, man. That's good enough. Obviously. To be fair, 2 of the CFL teams last year made money, and the rest broke even or lost money. So the league has to, really grow and sell out. Obviously, the key for the CFL to make profit, they have to sell out for all their games, sell out all their games. 18 games in the season. They have to sell out. A lot of people have to buy the food for the concessions and the merch. That's how they make their profit. The CFL, obviously. Sarah. As Winnipeg and Saskatchewan Roughriders are the 2 richest teams in the CFL. They're fucking rich, those teams. Saskatchewan number 1, Winnipeg number 2. 2 richest teams in the CFL, obviously. Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, guys, here's what I hope you guys enjoyed my Skiv SOURCE CFL video. Peace out, guys. I'm gonna go so I get my smokes. Enjoy the show, you guys. Peace out.